Hello, this is one of a series of videos that the Hadron H2 Class Association is making for the 2021 RYA Dinghy Show. I'm Keith Callaghan, the designer of the Hadron H2. Today I'm talking to Ian Sanderson. Ian sails from Key Haven Yacht Club on the Solent. He's the current H2 national champion, and not only that, he was champion in 2019 and 2018. In our first nationals, held in 2017, he was only second, behind Paul Smalley. So I think we can say that Ian is the #1 competitor in the fleet. He sails H2 number 111, dark grey boat, Shifty Fades Away. Hello Ian, and welcome to the H2 show.
Hi Keith.
Hi. Ian, can you first of all tell us a little bit about your earlier sailing career and then how you came to be one of the earlier owners of a Hadron H2?
Yeah, sure. I started fairly young, not as young as a lot of the kids do these days, but maybe 11 or 12, something like that. And from up north originally, so we're on the Marine Lake at Southport Sailing Club, and really introduced by my dad, and did a variety of things from crewing in Enterprises. Ended up having a topper and a laser when I was a bit small for one, and eventually started doing the early days of Jim Saltonstall's youth training. So we sailed a 420 for a while in that to do the youth nationals. And then university, really just team racing. And then I had a period a bit like, I guess a lot of dinghy sailors do, kind of starting work and doing other things where I didn't sail so much. And then I got the opportunity to move to the South Coast. And when I did that, that's maybe 25 years ago or something, I had a period where I raced a Firefly and a Laser 4000 and did a lot of club sailing and open meeting sailing over that maybe 10-year period or something. And when that kind of drew to a natural end, I ended up sailing a Blaze. Not really much of the open circuit, but sailed a lot at club level for maybe 4 or 5 years. And that gets me to probably about the time I started looking for something different to sail. And that was about the time you were developing the H2. I think I'd seen the original Hadron. And I can remember seeing some of the press releases, some of the stuff on social media that you put out, and sort of caught my eye and followed the development. I remember when, first of all, it was just the hull we could see, or a sketch of the hull, and then eventually you'd made an actual hull, and then we saw the rig. So it was a bit like a good way of keeping my interest. So yeah, I always kind of like the look of it, and sailed Merlins a little bit in recent years, and obviously it's a bit like a single-handed Merlin, so kind of caught my eye.
Sure. Well, that's interesting. You say you sail up north. I think we'll probably come back to that, won't we? Because you do have a small connection with Elton Sailing Club. But,
yeah, that's right.
That's right. Okay. Well, back to the H2. 3 wins and a second in 4 championships suggests that you dominate the H2 competition, but that's not really the case, is it? In 2019, Jack Holden very nearly took the position away from you, gave you a good run for your money. 2020, last year, Richard Leffley very nearly won last year's event at Royal Torbay Yacht Club. In fact, it was down to the wire on the last race, wasn't it? Could you describe what happened in that last few hundred yards? It's quite interesting because I was watching.
Yeah, so I think all the championships have been like that. I mean, first year when I was second, that was down to the last race as well, I think, and came out on the wrong side of that one. And it seems to be like that each time. Not sure if I really enjoy that, but this year, Sid and I, we sort of had a battle exchanging first and seconds through the 3 or 4 days. And the truth was, when the wind was up, and that last day the wind was up, I couldn't really stay with him upwind at all, but I was quicker downwind. And I think that stage, I knew I had to beat him, and I tried to sail him, not my proudest moment, I tried to sail him out at the start, and did really, we started at the back, but it didn't do me any good because he just tacked off and basically sailed round me and everyone else, and I think he ended up first at the top mark, and I was 5th or 6th or something, so it wasn't looking too good. And then downwind. I caught him, I think, started the next beat just ahead, but he sailed straight past me. And we did that for a couple of laps. And I think he led round the last bottom mark, was well ahead at the top. And I really didn't think I had much chance of catching him. But it's a downwind finish, isn't it? So that kind of worked in my favour. I don't know whether good luck or good judgment, but I did just got on his transom as we got towards the bottom mark and just got inside him. And then it was just a jibe around the mark and a little dash to the finish line.
That's right.
I'm not sure whether he was expecting to win. I certainly wasn't anywhere in that race until the last minute.
Yeah, well, it's never over till it's over, is it? Especially in sailing. Well, yeah, that's really interesting. What do you think of the other competition? That's Ian Dawson, for example, who finished third overall. He's what, 66, 67 now. I mean, I knew him when he was a young chap in the 1970s sailing Merlins down at Salcombe. But there he is still. Yeah,
it was putting me to shame, that's for sure, upwind. You think, oh, I'll just nip back, just get past him and leave him, and then 2 laps later you find he's still right with you or crossing you upwind. So yeah, I think still had a bit to learn off him, definitely on the upwinds.
Yeah, and what do you think of Nick Craig joining the fleet this year?
Well, I think it's really good for the class, isn't it? And hopefully that'll attract some other competition as well. Nick obviously likes the, he sells plenty of boats, doesn't he? He obviously likes the look and feel of the boat because he's tried it out.
Yeah.
I think drag everyone's standard up as well. So
I think he will. He's quite an inspiration, actually, because he shares all of his techniques and secrets. He's not the kind of person who keeps it all to himself. Yeah. We're all looking forward to sailing with him, I'm sure. So anyway, I asked you to bring along the National Championship trophy, didn't I? And perhaps we can have a chat about it. Have you got it there?
Yeah, it's not a small thing to handle, Keith.
Not a small thing. No. Right, we can't see the engraving there, but it's called the Harold Smith Trophy. Oh yeah, there we are. So the Harold Smith Trophy, named after Harold, who was the chap who asked me in 1972 to design my first single-hander, the Harrier. And I think you said that your father had a Harrier at Elton Sailing Club. Is that right? Number 55?
Yeah, I think it's a while back, isn't it, this now? I think we used to go to Elton for a winter series. I think that's where he came across it.
Okay.
He had a 55, I think, a blue and white one. It was a nice sort of standout looking boat then. So of course all Merlins back then were pretty much wood, I guess. So it was usual. I mean, that's back before it was fiberglass, wasn't it? But it wasn't foam sandwich or anything like that.
Oh no.
So I can remember having it. I mean, it was a bit of a grown-up boat when I was still a kid, really, but it was quite a powerful boat as well. I can remember having to go in that and the light stuff, and quite liking it. But I'd probably, as soon as it was a Force 2 or more, I was blown away, I think.
Yeah. Well, so now, 50 years on nearly, we're with the H2, which is actually a direct descendant of that Harrier, in that it's got Merlin rocket DNA in my latest Merlin rocket design. And
you find most people, there's a lot of people who have connections to the Merlin class, and I kind of like the idea of that design, that whole shape in general. But if anybody's, well, I would say if anyone's interested, you should definitely have a go in the H2 because it is quite Merlin-like, but actually, without wishing to disrespect anybody selling Merlins, because they've contained the weight in the rule, that they're really still quite heavy boats. I mean, they're mainly with correct and with 2 people in. They're a quicker boat on PY overall for sure with the spinnaker, but the H2 is a powerful and light and stiff. So when you get in it, you don't need much breeze to just get it. It just sort of sits up and planes, and you've got enough leverage to hold it flat as well. So it is a nice boat to get in. You sit in it rather than on it. Get your feet down into a footwell, and you really feel like you can drive it around the race course. So I do think it's got a lot going for it. I sailed a Blaze quite a bit at Livington before I came to Keyhaven, really, and I thought the Blaze maybe they're not that great for short tacking, and actually they're very wide with the racks sailing in and out of the river, whereas the H2 it's still powerful enough to get you from A to B out on the open water. But I find for short tacking, it's actually pretty good for a wide boat. And actually, I think it's better than a Merlin. Merlins are a bit too flat and wide. You can't really roll tack them that effectively, whereas the H2 doesn't really take on water when you tack it. So it's actually quite good for that in and out of the river.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing about the relative speed of the Blaze and the H2. You remember in the first championships we had at Warsash, we had the nationals with the Blazes. They started 5 minutes ahead of us, and we were at that time trying to benchmark, and that seemed an obvious opportunity to do so. So I had all the race times, and it was quite clear that the H2 then was slower than the Blaze, probably by about, or maybe 6 to 10 PY points. But now they're almost identical. So it just goes to show how techniques have improved over the last 4 years in the H2s. And the general standard, I thought, last year at the Nationals was very, very good indeed. So we're looking forward to 2021, and we're going back to Herne Bay, which is a great friendly club. They're going to make us welcome again, and I hope you're going to be there, because you've actually sold Shifty recently, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. And I'm doing a few different things. There's a bit of a burgeoning two-man fleet of Laser 2000s at the club, so I'm going to do a little bit of that for a while. Right. I'm hoping to get there, and also we're hoping to arrange some training, COVID permitting, in the spring for owners at Warsash before the open meeting. So I'll be keen to get involved in that and see what we can pick out of that and who we can bring on.
Oh yeah, that would be excellent, and yeah, we're looking forward to that. And anyway, yeah, thanks very much, Ian. We hope to see you at Warsash, hopefully sooner, but well, obviously COVID permitting. Let's have a good 2021 sailing season. Thanks again.
Okay, thanks, Keith.